Hello and welcome. My name's George, and my channel is all about helping you record and produce your best music in your home studio. Today we're going to be looking at the Shure MV7 microphone. I'm going to show you everything you need to know to get started using this microphone, and we're going to go over all the different settings and options available to you with this mic. So let's dive in. Now, before we dive into all the different settings and options, I want to talk a little bit about the microphone itself. And this right here is the MV7, which is the mic I'm talking about. So this microphone is a dynamic microphone. And one of the characteristics of a dynamic microphone is they don't pick up a lot of room sound. So they generally only pick up sound that's right in front of the microphone. So this is great if you're recording in a bit of a noisier environment, or if you only want to pick up the one instrument or person that the microphone is in front of. But on the other hand, it might not be a great option if you're not able to be nice and close to the microphone, or if you're trying to pick up more than one instrument or more than one voice using just the one microphone. Now, along the same lines, this microphone also has a cardioid pickup pattern. And what that means is the microphone is going to be picking up sound that's in front of the microphone. So it's going to be rejecting sound that's coming from the sides. A microphone with an omni pickup pattern, on the other hand, that's going to pick up sound from everywhere. So it's going to pick up from the sides, the front, and a little bit from the back as well. So that's another way that this microphone helps cut down any unwanted noise in your room. But again, if you're hoping to pick up multiple people or multiple instruments using one mic, it might not be the best choice for you. Now, one of the things I really like about this microphone is it allows you to use it using both USB and an XLR mic cable. So using USB, I can just plug this directly into my computer with a USB cable. I don't need an extra audio interface or carry around any other gear to make this microphone work. So this is great for traveling, or if you have no need for an audio interface altogether, then you can just carry around the microphone and nothing else. Now, the great thing about having the option of using an XLR is that if I want to record using multiple microphones, well, then I can do that using the XLR cable. I can simply plug in the XLR cable into the microphone and then the other end into my audio interface. And if I have multiple inputs on my audio interface, well, then I can plug in multiple microphones into my audio interface, and the Shure MV7 could be one of those. So I really like the versatility that this microphone provides, and it allows me to use it in different situations. And now with that all out of the way, let's take a look at some of the different settings and options that we have available to us using this microphone. Okay, so this is the ShurePlus Motiv software that comes with this microphone. And this software lets you easily adjust some of the settings for this microphone. So I'll walk you through all these different settings and how those affect the microphone. So I'm going to start on manual mode. We'll take a look at auto mode in a second. So first here, you'll see we have the ability to save presets. So once we have all our settings figured out that we'll go through later, you can then save that. Then if you ever make any changes and you want to go back, you can simply go back to the preset you saved and all your settings will be there. Next, we just have this mute mic button. This should be fairly self-explanatory. So if I click this button, you shouldn't have been hearing anything right then. So that could be a little safeguard if you're in a meeting or something and you want to make sure that you are indeed muted. You can go ahead and use that button. Then we have the mic gain. So this is essentially your volume for your microphone. So if I bring this down, you should start hearing me get a little bit quieter. So I'm speaking right now. You should hear me getting quieter. And as I bring this back up, I'm going to be getting louder as I bring this up. So if you find you're too quiet, then you're going to want to bring this mic gain up. And if on the other hand, you're getting distortion in your voice, well, then you're going to want to bring this down. Next, we have our monitor mix. So on this microphone, we can actually plug in a set of headphones directly to the back of the microphone. So that allows us to both hear our own voice in our headphones and as well as any playback that's happening on your computer. So if we just want to hear ourselves speaking and nothing else, then we can go all the way to the left here. And if we want to, on the other hand, just hear playback from the computer, then you'd go here. If you want to hear a 50-50 mix, then put it in the middle. Now, if you do want to hear playback from your computer, you'll just have to make sure that your audio output settings are set to the MV7 microphone. So on a Mac, if you go up here, for instance, you can see that the Shure MV7 is an option for my audio output. So I would select that if I wanted to hear sounds from my computer using the headphones plugged into the microphone. Next, we have some EQ options. So right now I have selected just a flat EQ, so that's unchanged. And then the next we have a bass roll-off or a high pass filter. So this is going to cut out low frequencies. So if I select this, you might hear slightly less bass in my voice, but probably not a lot. And generally when recording or using this microphone for vocals, I would generally have this high pass filter turned on. So this is just going to filter out very low end frequencies, which is just going to be kind of low end rumble type sounds. So it's not going to really be contributing much to your vocal sound. And if anything, it's just going to clean it up a bit. And then next we have a presence boost. So with this activated, it turns off the high pass filter. So those low frequencies are coming back, but you're getting a bit of a boost in the higher end. So you might hear a little bit of that bass coming back in my voice, but at the same time, the higher end is getting brightened up a little bit and giving me a bit more presence in my voice. And then lastly, we have the presence boost with the high pass on. So this is both filtering out the low frequencies and giving me a little bit of a boost in the higher frequencies. So if I was recording vocals or using this microphone in a live stream situation for singing vocals, then I would probably use the high pass and presence boost. So this will ensure that any kind of muddiness on the low end will be cut out, and I'll have a nice bright vocal that's going to cut through my mix if I have other instruments going on. Now, if I was recording with this microphone and I had the ability to tweak my EQ later in my DAW, then I would probably just leave the high pass on and I would EQ the high end manually afterwards, after I've done recording. And that'll just allow me to have a bit of a deeper listen to my vocals before I apply any EQ to them. Next, we have a built-in limiter. So with this engaged, this is just going to help make sure that you're not peaking in your signal, so that if there's moments where you're getting overly loud, the microphone will try and compensate for that so that you're not clipping and distorting your audio. So again, this is a good feature in a kind of live stream situation. But if you have the ability to do any post-processing, like I mentioned before, then I would probably turn this off. And next, we have a built-in compressor as well. So what a compressor does is tames the dynamics of whatever's being put into the microphone. So in the case of my voice, what the compressor is going to do is it's going to tame any kind of loud words from my voice. And what that's going to do is actually make my quieter words sound louder. So all my words and phrases will be one nice uniform volume. So if I set this on the light setting, you might notice that overall my voice gets a little bit louder and all the words start sounding a little bit more uniform. And that'll just get more and more obvious once I go to medium and then heavy as well. So in heavy, you'll kind of get that radio tone, and there's not much change in the loudness between one word and the next. So again, this is a great feature for live streams or podcasts or things that are happening live. But if you do have the ability to do edits afterwards and post-processing, well, then that's usually when I would apply my compression. And then lastly, we just have this live meters. So with these live meters activated, you can actually see the signal right on the microphone, and you can see these lights moving depending on how loud I speak. So this helps me make sure that the gain that we set first is set correctly and that I'm not getting too much in the orange and in the red, but just some nice healthy green here. And then we also have night mode, which just dims the lights on the front of the microphone a little bit. So those are all the different settings available to us in the manual tab. As I mentioned, these are great if you're going live, maybe a meeting or live stream or podcast where you don't have the ability to do any post-processing and you can do it right from the microphone. Now let's take a look at some of the automatic settings. So if we go back to the top, we go to auto level. Once again, we can save a preset once we've got some settings that we're happy with. Again, we have the mute mic button, which will just make sure our mic's muted. And again, to monitor mix, which again is the same as before. So if you just want to hear the mic through your headphones that are plugged into your microphone, you'd slide all the way to the left. And if you just want the playback from your computer, you go all the way to the right. And if you want half and half, you go in the middle. Next, we can adjust for mic position. So one thing with microphones is we have what's called proximity effect. So the closer you go to the microphone, the more bass sound is going to get picked up in your voice. So this near and far will kind of compensate for that. So right now I'm set on near, and if I set this microphone too far, it's going to change the character of my voice based on the distance from the microphone. So if you selected far, you probably want to be a little bit further away than I currently am. So I'm going to go back to near and then tone. So this will be a little bit similar to the EQ settings we had in the manual. So we have dark. So you'll probably hear a little bit more bass in my voice, a little bit of a darker tone. And bright will be the opposite. So probably thinned out a little bit in the low end, and then that presence boost is applied in the high end. And then we can go back to natural as well. And then lastly, once again, we have those live meters on the microphone so we can see our signal coming in. And we also have the night mode, which will just dim the brightness of those lights as well. So those are all the different settings that can be changed from the ShurePlus Motiv software. Now, we can also change a lot of these right from the microphone itself. So the mic gain, for example, you see these little green lights here. This is just a little touchpad. I can simply run my finger along the lights here, and you'll see that my mic gain is getting quieter, and I can slide my finger and bring it up this way as well. I find that it's not always super sensitive, so you sometimes need to run your finger over a couple times for it to pick up and then adjust your level. Now, if you want to change the monitor mix directly from the microphone, there's a little icon with a headphone and a microphone, and you need to hold that down for 2 seconds. And now you'll see that I have both orange and green lights, and then from there I can adjust the monitor mix. Now, if I want to adjust just the volume of my headphones, I can tap that same button just once, and then you'll see that the green lights disappeared and I just have orange lights. So the orange just being the headphones rather than the green being the playback as well. And that same thing, I can just drag and adjust that way. And on the other side, we also have a mute button for the mic. So you can actually mute the microphone directly from the microphone itself just by tapping the little icon. Now, one more thing that you can do if you're happy with your settings and you want to lock them to make sure that you don't accidentally change anything, well, then you simply hold down both the mute icon and the microphone and headphone icon together, and that will lock the settings of the microphone. So I hope that helped clear up some of the different settings that you have available to you with the Shure MV7 microphone. As I mentioned before, this is a great versatile microphone that you can use in a lot of different applications, both as a USB mic and also using an XLR cable and your audio interface. If you're going to be using this microphone to record in Logic Pro and you want to improve your workflow in Logic Pro, don't forget to download my free Logic Pro hotkey cheat sheet by following the link in the description below. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you in the next one.